Hey guys, peace. Welcome back to another chit chat. Um, so today I'm going to do a very brief video on the current events. And while I'm not usually a big celebrity commentator or follower, even, I think the current events of the Ye story is just something to um, take a look at, take a check in on, particularly because I believe a few days ago I sort of referred to it or brought it, or felt it in my energy when I mentioned this reckoning, right? And so that's what the energy feels like to me. It feels like the reckoning of these quote unquote powers that be that have sort of called in this challenge to what would be considered a pushback of the status quo. And, in my opinion, I see the question of critical thinking and groupthink versus groupthink and a test to see whether or not, people are going to just sort of go along with whatever narrative or be scared off by a dominant narrative that continues to be pushed almost as though it's an agenda. I would say that, in taking a look at where you stand in a particular issue of any sort, not just this issue, it's important to go inside and recognize first that there should be no pressure to see things one way or the other. It's not that black and white, And what I consider to be an evolution toward an Orwellian state of not just existing, but thinking, which is Orwellian. If you harken back to George Orwell's prophecies, literary prophecies, it all begins in controlling the way we think. And it's about scaring people. It's about terrorizing people. It's about, and all of this has been done over the last couple of years, and moving people into complacency based on trauma. And so the narrative that came up in this situation with Ye is not anything new. It's a narrative that has been brought up and challenged and questioned, and people have been portrayed as the C word, crazy. It's again, as I brought up the reckoning a few days ago, the energy that I felt welling up was one of challenge, and again in this Libran judgment justice season, it's throwing a sling shot at Goliath to bring some of that down, not necessarily all at once, but to chip away at it, to say, what, this big bad monster of a controlling entity is not going to, scare the brave people who have resolved that they're going to meet their freedom on their own terms. So, there's lots of controversy, lots of people who, are taking the obvious position. But then there's those who aren't. And that's what's very, very interesting to me. There are those who refuse to just sort of see this in the standard way that it's being presented. And I think that's very healthy. I think it's very healthy not to just fall into what is quite obviously the obvious perspective and opinion. It's the issues are big. The issues are about freedom. The issues are about not being seen, or not falling into the dominant narrative without critically thinking, without making your own decision, and not just flowing and going along. So the energy just to me has been supercharged. And again, I just feel like I felt this all coming on. Where is it going to go? That's the question. I mean, it's had 1,500, not 1,500, that's real hyperbole, right? But it's had I don't know, like 5 to 10 different motions in 24 hours. People backing up and apologizing, the betrayal, selling people out. I mean, being with Ye in one moment, like, I'm your homie, I got you for life, I got your back. And then within less than, a few hours, being that Judas, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And going back on their own, their own face, their own position, and making new rules for, how they've always done things. So it's been a real Judas. Judas and Jesus. Wasn't that another one that I just did the other day? And I can feel it, one of the things that came up for me was when I first woke up to this today was I'm not here to tell you how it ends, but I'm here to tell you that it has begun. And where we move from here is, a good prediction would be that we've got somebody who is an archetype of, being up for a fight. I love it. I love that courage. And again, the C word does not scare this particular individual. We've had other individuals, and you're talking from somebody who practices the same belief system of those who are being accused, literally. And, it was brought up. I mean, history is more comprehensive than the one side who's monopolized that narrative. So, it's going to be really interesting in the next few days to see where this is all gonna lead to. But I just thought I'd come on. I'll probably come back on tomorrow to talk about that maybe, or some other things that I've been meaning to get around to. But I just wanted to briefly, before the day was over, give just a small recounting of, not again necessarily the sensationalism of the entertainment / celebrity reality TV show, but of the energy, because to me it represents an energy that has manifested in that particular scene. But it's been other things. It's coming up as themes synchronistically in many world collective stages that we're seeing and experiencing together, as well as our internal, again, the oracle, empath, starseed, take that resonates, you know, through the mainstream and the collective has felt it. I know I did, like I said a few days ago, and this is not even the half of where we're headed with this. It's going to usher in a lot more energy before the grand resolve. Not always a war that ends quickly or a battle that ends quickly, but you know, it's an opening. It's an opening to a larger, longer event. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. I'm sure I'll be back on soon, so check in with me and have a great evening. Peace.